Good evening again from Barbados, from the Cave Hill campus of the University of the West Indies, Akwaaba. Welcome to the inaugural Faculty Open Week of the Faculty of Culture, Creative and Performing Arts. Everybody good? I am Amanda Cumberbatch, lecturer in theater and coordinator of the theater program, and I will be your chairperson for this evening's virtual information session. These sessions are designed to introduce you to our faculty, its structure and philosophical underpinnings. You will learn about the diverse and ever-growing range of programs on offer here at our Caribbean Center for the Study of Culture, Creativity, and the Arts. And we have a student performance for you. In the earlier session, we focused on the undergraduate curriculum and their experiences. And in this 6 o'clock session, we turn our attention to the graduates, the curriculum, the extra and co-curricular activities and matters that concern them. At this time, I want to acknowledge and welcome all gathered. In particular, I want to welcome and introduce our Dean, David Akombo, who you will hear a message from shortly. Our heads of departments, Mr. Andrew Millington, the head of the Department of Creative and Performing Arts, Dr. Yannick Hume, the head of Cultural Studies, who is not with us this evening. I want also, therefore, to specifically welcome again Dr. Therese Hatchety, who is overseeing on Dr. Hume's behalf in her absence. I also want to make note of faculty members present, Dr. Yvonne Weeks, who is the coordinator of the MA program. Our Deputy Dean is with us right next to me on my right of the screen, Dr. Marcio Burrows. Welcome. Good evening, Dr. Burrows.
Evening.
Thank you for joining us. And also to make note of our students in attendance, Ms. Paula Ann Jackman, who will be talking. Hello, Paula Ann, I saw you in the earlier session, who will be sharing her experiences from the student perspective. And in particular later, from the School of Grad Studies and Research, we're going to hear from Mr. Owen Ellis, the Senior Assistant Registrar, who will handle all matters related to admissions and the application process. So welcome all. At this time, we're going to turn over to hear a pre-recorded welcome from our Dean, Dr. Akombo.
Dear prospective students, we are pleased to have you thinking about joining our faculty for your academic pursuit and career development. While at the UWI, you'll be mentored, inspired, and intellectually stimulated by our student-centered faculty to help you realize your highest potentials. Once admitted, we shall continue to provide you with a pitch-perfect, sound, and creative education grounded within the framework of the FCCPA Creative Superculture. Our creative programs are truly on the cutting edge. The film program, for instance, will train you to be the next generation of film, television, and video content producers, while dance and theater programs will nurture and prepare you for the rewarding careers as educators, theater artists, and dance choreographers, respectively. The music program will prepare you for performance opportunities in the creative industry. Grounded in culture, our programs will truly propel you into the blue economy, where you'll not only be individual entrepreneurs, but also spearhead the economic growth of Barbados, the Caribbean, and beyond. We are so glad you are thinking about joining the Faculty of Culture, Creative and Performing Arts at the University of the West Indies Cave Hill campus. We look forward to seeing you here soon so we can all stay culturally intrigued, creatively inspired, and artistically engaged. For we are culture, we are creative, we are artists. Thank you.
We are culture, we are creative, we are artists. So at this time, I'm going to hand over to Dr. Yvonne Weeks, who will tell us about the MA in Creative Arts. Dr. Weeks, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you so much, Amanda. The MA in Creative Arts is an exciting program. It's a one-year program if you're full-time, or a two-year program if you're part-time. What is exciting about the Creative Arts program? Well, it fits very neatly and nicely into the creative industries, the creative economies, and those individuals who are interested in engaging in higher learning of the creative arts, engaging in higher professional qualifications in the creative arts, and also who are interested in developing their soft skills, those skills that we need to be better communicators, to be better at engaging with others, to be better team players, to really understand the cultural world that we live in. And in that regard, the creative arts has an arts education stream, which I'm very proud of. I've been working very hard to ensure that the curriculum is engaging, is cutting edge, is evolving as the creative industries evolve. And we also have the arts entrepreneurship. Now, the MA in Creative Arts is 36 credits. It's an intense program, but I'm proud to say the individuals who do the MA Creative Arts are often, especially those who come from overseas, and we've had a number of applicants and students from overseas, they tend to be the ones who are really career professionals and have gone from teaching in a high school to teaching at Edna Manley, who've gone from being cultural officers to being deputy directors of culture, who have gone into building their own businesses. So arts education, the program basically has a number of courses that are compulsory, whether you do arts education or arts entrepreneurship. And we have Dr. Hatchity here with us, and she teaches a course in aesthetics. And that really grounds the students philosophically so they can understand kind of a survey of what the arts is involved with in terms of helping them to build their own personal values and how and why they create the work that they're going to create. There is a course called Professional Practice, in which students, and they have successfully done internships despite COVID, I have to tell you, they work with all kinds of companies, film companies, production companies. They develop their own businesses. They have done lunchtime concert series. It really helps them to understand the marketing, the strategizing of the arts, the production, you know, the nuts and bolts of how we go from an idea to a concept. And so many of them have worked successfully with companies. The other course that is compulsory is Theorizing Caribbean Art. And Mr. Millington and I love this course. It's a modular course. We're thinking about how we can make the title even more exciting, in which they look at the arts through religion, the arts through music, the arts through theater, the arts through dance. And the students enjoy that course in particular because they are exposed to different perspectives from different lecturers. So from Wilfredo Lam, to Spooge, to soca, to bashment soca, to the National Dance State of Jamaica, they get to see how we develop concepts of identity through the arts. And then the other compulsory course is Research Methods in the Arts. Many of our students want to go on to do PhD programs, and having a grounding in methodology in the arts is critical. And that leads them to be able to go into their second semester, either doing something as exciting as curriculum design in the arts. We know that, you know, we are human resource kind of limitations. And so there are all these examination bodies, there are schools, there are policymakers looking for critical individuals who are critical to developing curriculum, theories of learning, so that they will be at the top of their career in terms of just being arts educators. And of course, in the entrepreneurship, there's things like arts administration taught by Dr. John Hunt. There's this semester, for the first time, we're offering a course called Audience and Visitor Dynamics with a wonderful Kevin Farmer from the Barbados Museum. The students are loving it because in that course, they are able to figure out, what do I need to do to encourage more people to come to my show? How can I evaluate the efficacy of an intervention at the museum or in a theater space? And so they're very excited. We're very happy to have our part-time MA staff are integral to the success of the MA program. And this year, also for the first time, we are offering a course called Community Arts. And I'm particularly excited about that course because I have 8 students. You know, an MA program that has 8 students is like, yeah, it's yippee luxury. And what we are doing there is actually understanding the role of the artist as advocate in activism. We are actually analyzing. We all went off to the Golden Square yesterday, and we're analyzing how it has impacted the community and what more do we need to do to make that artistic space become more connected to the community, other than be able to sell more drinks in the rum shops nearby. So how is the art integral? So we are very excited by that particular course as well. So as I said, it's 36 credits. They have to do a creative project, and a lot of the work that we see coming from the students is inspirational, it's inspiring, it's very rooted in things that are happening in their own lives. They're exploring Alzheimer's, grief, fatherhood, fathering. Quite a few of our students who have done creative projects have actually turned those projects into successful things after. One of our students was recently published for a collection of poems in which he wanted to switch the narrative on fatherhood and fathering, and has been published in 2 anthologies from the work that he produced in Mr. Millington's class on in the creative project. So I'm very excited. I'm having to teach this particular program. The students are amazing. They're hardworking. It is a rigorous course, but they build relationships that I think will last a lifetime. And we need that in the Caribbean sector. And so I think that's all. I think I've spoken a lot. That's me in terms of the MA Creative Arts.
Thank you so much for sharing, Dr. Weeks. And it's true, their inspiration is in itself inspiring. So we look forward to see what the graduates produce. So right now we're going to turn over to the Department of Cultural Studies to hear again from Dr. Yannick Hume, her pre-recorded message, especially for the graduates.
Greetings and welcome all to Faculty Week. My name is Dr. Yannick Hume, and I'm the acting head and lecturer in cultural studies. Thank you for taking the time to tune in to what we have to offer. In cultural studies, we offer a vibrant graduate program and undergraduate program. At the undergraduate level, we have a BA in Caribbean Studies, newly minted program that commenced in September of 2021. And we would love to welcome you to take the courses that explore the varied expressions of Caribbean identities, looking at the sociocultural formation, political economy, historical developments of the Caribbean region. We also have a minor in cultural studies with various partnerships with sister faculties and departments. So you could do a minor in cultural studies and a major in sociology, for example. You could major in history and philosophy with a minor in cultural studies, as well as gender studies and minor in cultural studies. And so there is opportunities for you to have a major in another faculty or in another department and still do your minor in cultural studies. And the graduate degrees on offer includes the diploma, a taught master's, an MPhil, as well as a PhD. The diploma functions in many ways like an intermediary stepping stone, if you will, to the MA program for those who want to do a kind of opening to get a sense, get their feet wet, get a sense of what this program is about. The diploma is an option for you. There's also the taught masters, which includes 3 semesters of coursework, and then you will go into your research for your research paper. The MPhil and the PhD are a bit lengthier in terms in terms of the time, but also the intensity as you are doing your original research for that, and they all include an examination process. Within the PhD, you would have a viva or a defense at the end. So these degree programs encourage interdisciplinarity. It encourages that you move out of the disciplinary silos and work across and talk across different genres of knowledge as well as methodologies. We encourage that depth of engagement of the study of culture to look at culture in its multidimensionality, looking at it as a lived practice, but also seeing how we could engage with the politics of culture and the intersections of power and culture, power and identity, power and knowledge, and the various ways in which we could explore this with whatever cultural phenomena we choose to study. It is our hope that you will find a home with us on the Cave Hill campus and in the Cultural Studies Department. Wishing you all the best as you continue to search and explore what may be your next step moving forward. Cheers.
Thank Dr. Hume for that presentation, and I will straight turn to Dr. Hajati to talk to us about practice-based research where the graduates are concerned. Therese?
Thank you very much, Amanda, and hello everyone. It's lovely to see you and feel all the energy in the department. And since I teach in both departments, I can see that there's a tremendous amount of energy in the creative fields on the EBCCI side of the campus. There's also a lot of energy in the cultural studies side, on the cultural studies side, but it's a slightly different energy. Now we are in the process of introducing a practice-based degree. You will not yet see it in the faculty handbook because it is, it's just in the final process of being fine-tuned and put into place, but it will be offered for the 2022-23 admissions. And so the practice-based degree is offered as an MA, an MPhil, or a PhD. And we have identified 8 different areas or 8 different disciplines in which you can pursue this degree. They are theater, film and digital media, visual art, music, dance, oral arts, festival arts, and integrating all of the above perhaps is trans or interdisciplinary arts. Now the admissions to the practice-based degree are more or less the same as they are for any standard postgraduate degree, except that for the MA, there is the possibility of being admitted on the strength of a portfolio and well-documented experience, as well as critical recognition in a given field. You cannot, on the basis of that, enter into the MPhil or the PhD programs, but at the MA level, you can do that. And the MA, the completed MA practice-based degree will then lead on to the opportunity to pursue either the MPhil or the PhD. Now, how does the practice-based degree, research degree, differ from a standard PhD or a standard research degree? Well, primarily in that it recognizes creative production, and I'm sure that my creative colleagues at the EBCCI will certainly applaud this. It recognizes creative production as a form of knowledge production, creative practice as a form of knowledge production in and of itself. It doesn't mean that a practice-based degree is any less rigorous in its written component. So it has a practical component and a written component, a written theoretical component. So it is not considered a shortcut. It is no less rigorous in its theoretical component, but it is shorter than it would be for the standard option in a PhD on MPhil and an MA. So it allows the student unless in the standard postgrad research degrees, it allows the student to produce a creative product, which will be offered up for examination alongside the written component. And so this could, in its final form, it could be a play, it could be a film, a concert, a recital, a performance, a display or intervention or installation or exhibition in some form. And so what is different in the written component is that the practice-based degree allows us, well, not allows, it requires the student to incorporate a reflective component, which is where the student will document the creative process. It will self-interrogate, of course, guided by the supervisors. And this component can include words, pictures, sketches, drafts, music, videos, video clips, etc., any form of documentation. And it will reflect on the creative choices made. It will, the successes and failures and questions yet to be addressed in that process. And if this all sounds a little abstract, I thought of an example of a student who is a potential filmmaker who has the idea of perhaps creating a hybrid product between, let's say, a video game and a documentary film. And his or her project will then be to find out how best to do this. And in the proposal for this project, he or she will have to explain the need for such a product, and all the hows and the whys. It will also mean that he or she has to situate that product in relation to the Caribbean gaming industry, as well as Caribbean documentary film. And they will have to explain what is the newness of this project, what is its application and use. But once this has been approved and the student enrolls, then they will have to actually carry out this project and offer it up and defend it. An alternative project, which could lead to either a standard research degree or a practice-based one, could be someone who, let's say, a spoken word artist, who says, I'm a bit tired of all this, all these old male famous Caribbean poets like Campbell Brathwaite and Derek Walcott and so on. I want to critique them from, let's say, a feminist perspective. You could do that either as a standard research degree, or you could do it as a practice-based degree. If you choose the practice-based option, you will have to rework, and in a convincing way, you would have to rework some of their poetry from, let's say, a feminist or any other kind of perspective. But you would actually have to produce a new version of this and explain why this is new and why this is as good as, and why this is relevant. Now, the relative weighting of the practice and the theory component in the degree differs as you move up the ladder. So at the MA level, the practical component is, I'm getting myself confused here. I need to look at my slide again. So the written component at the MA level is 30%, and the practical component is 70% of the overall grade. At the MPhil level, it is 40 for the written component and 60 for the practical component. At the PhD level, it is 50-50. So as you can see, the written component becomes increasingly more important. The theoretical component becomes more important as you move up. So I hope I have enticed you rather than confused you. And I really hope that this is an opportunity that a lot of applicants might avail themselves of. We often hear complaints in the theory-based program that there isn't enough room for practice, but there is room for practice now, and we look forward to welcoming you. So thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hachety, for all of that. Yes, there is room for practice now. I know our colleagues in that particular committee are feverishly working on all of that. Well, at this time, I'm going to ask my director to take us to this excellent student video, Drums of My Fathers, produced by the FCCPA Cave Hill Creatives.
Drums of my fathers, rumbling in my bones, organ music. Drums of my fathers beating in my mind, jukebox blaring. Drums of my fathers capturing my soul. Sing a hymn to Mary. Words of my fathers tumbling from my mouth, speak Queen's English. Drums of my fathers, my grandfathers, of my ancestors, drumming in my psyche. Drums of my fathers, drum beat, beat on, drum on and on. My Garifuna frame and my Caribbean bones tingle, keeping time with the reverberating sounds of the hollow trunk, whose roots reach deep into the hills and the vales and the streams and the soul of Africa. Reach into the banks and the water and the heart and the mind of the Amazon, of the Orinoco. My hybrid body shakes and sways and rocks and communicates with the blur of wrinkled hands, of hardened hands, with wrists still sore and scarred after manacles, and cuffs and chains, gunpowder and bullets and cross-shaped swords that traverse the Atlantic calling at West African stations, and still Palm Island stood of the Grand Golden Antelopes. And like the antelope skin that captured the clatter and the thunder of the hoofbeat of the herd in the African plains, and the rumble and the thunder of the jungles and the falls of the Amazon, I stretched and talked, having taken the beating and the pounding. But my spirit and my voice will not be quiet. I will not be muffled, for I am the hallowed, halo trunk, and the hills and the vales and the streams and the soul of Africa.
Just want to commend the students of the FCCPA Student Committee again for this presentation, which you were able to show twice. It really does, as I said earlier, exemplify this concept of interdisciplinarity that we've been talking about all evening. And definitely shows you how that influences the expression of the work. So we look forward to seeing more of this. At this point now, I'm going to ask Miss Paula Jackman to speak from her student perspective on her experiences here at the FCCPA in the faculty, co-curricular, extracurricular matters. Over to you, Paula. Welcome. Hi.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. It's truly a pleasure to be here. My name is Paula Ann Jackman, and I came to the program having just completed my Bachelor of Arts in Arts and Entertainment Management at Barbados Community College. So when I found out about the program, I said, well, I would love to do a master's someday. And someone said, someday? No, check it out now. And then I got a call. I was originally interested in the studio arts, and then it came down to a choice between arts educator and arts entrepreneurship. So there were so many entrepreneurship courses in my previous studies. someone said to me, be a well-rounded individual and try another direction. And next thing you know, I was meeting Dr. Weeks and having a fantastic time learning about theories of learning in the arts and having this really amazing experience meeting persons from other territories. And now I have a friend in Montserrat and one in St. Lucia, and it's really fun. But there's also a lot of hard work to be done. But in doing the hard work for the program, it's causing me to do some hard work on myself. It's changing the way I think critically about culture and the arts and my place in it. I've always thought I just dabble. I write a little bit, dance a little bit, maybe a little bit of theater, but I didn't ever know where was my place and space in the arts. And I certainly never saw myself as an academic. Even my my former tutor said, "So will you do a PhD next?" And I was like, "No, that's for super bright people. What do you mean?" But being in the program is challenging the way I look at even myself and view my journey as a student and a student of life. And it's been really, really, really awesome. I can't express enough how much work it is. There's a lot of reading, so much more than in a BA. If you're coming from a bachelor's to the master's, prepare to read a lot, and it helps to read out loud. But it's not like anyone is dropping you into the careenage and telling you go and swim. I wasn't expecting this level of mentorship. And I see Dr. Hatchety here as well. And aesthetics is one that I was like, oh my God, post-colonial feminist thought. What? But next thing I know, I really did have thoughts, and I did want to go and read more about Audre Lorde and read more about the Enlightenment period. And there's so much to gain from just taking a risk and betting on yourself and joining a program like this. So I hope that I've helped to encourage someone. I don't know if that was long enough, short enough, but that's my experience coming into the program from my BA.
Thank you so much, Paula. Paula is an MA student on the Creative Arts graduate program. Thanks for sharing that. You talked about arts as taking a risk. I think all of us artists, practitioner, lecturers understand the adventure that a career in the arts and practice in the arts and thought in the arts is. And I really appreciate that comment. Yes. At this time now, I'm going to turn over to Mr. Owen Ellis, the Senior Assistant Campus Registrar, to take us through application and admission matters. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Ellis. Over to you.
Thank you. Good evening, Amanda, and members of faculty and students and others who are gathered, students and others, many applicants who are interested in coming to the program. You will have heard about the exciting programs that are on offer, but in order to get there, you need to first submit an application. So the application portal is open. For those who were on earlier, if we're not, we are open until end of June and online. So you will submit your application. You will also then submit your documents. These documents you may have heard earlier are your CV, your birth certificate, your ID card, copies, of course, 2 reference letters, a transcript from the university you will study that. Now, if you are UWI graduate, you don't have to submit your transcript because we will have it already in our system. So you just need to submit the others. So your degree or transcript, if you're Cave Hill or UWI person, you wouldn't have to do that. But if you're from elsewhere, you would ask your university to submit a transcript on your behalf so that you can have it ready. In some cases, you may be asked to do a statement of purpose, or as you heard from Dr. Hashidi, if you are coming with experience and no degree, you will have to have a portfolio of to show your experience, which is something we also welcome. So if you don't have a first degree and you have a wealth of experience, your portfolio will be very well, and of course, you'll submit that and it will be assessed. So your assessment will be determined by what you submit, because your faculty won't know you, and you would get an interview as necessary, but these documents will help support your case. How do you submit them? Given that we don't receive anything hard copy, haven't not been doing so for a few years, We welcome you to upload them to our email address. That is ch_postgradapps@kfil.uwa.edu. You will submit them, and I'm sure that Alison will help by putting it in the chat for us. That's ch_postgradapps@kfil.uwa.edu. And when you do that, we ask specifically that your subject line in your email. So the three very important things to remember. The email address for your documents, that's one. The second thing, the subject line must only contain your ID number. Now the ID number you will get once you fill out the application, you will get a response from the system automatically, which gives you a number, 10-digit number, I think it is, which is your reference number and becomes your ID number for the future. So don't ever lose that. It'll be with you from now till whenever you do anything at KFIL after this, that ID number remains with you. If you happen to be an undergrad coming through, your undergrad number is the one that will pertain. So it's easy. So your subject line is your ID number. Only those 10 digits, no hashtag, no name, nothing, just those 10 digits, right? And the documents that you attach will only be a PDF or a JPEG. Otherwise, the system will reject it. So we have a special system working in the background that receives your documents, and you must follow these basic 3 rules. And once they're uploaded properly, you will get a response to say we've got it, or we've got them. If it's not uploaded properly, you will get a response to say, I'm very sorry, not accepted, you have to do it again. So we've automated the system over the years to make sure that your documents are received properly. Once they're received, we at Postgrad will package them and send them over to Dr. We. It's the faculty, whichever person is analyzing your application. So if you're into the MA creative arts, Dr. Weeks, if you're doing the other special program that Dr. Hash talked about, it will go over there. But the point is, your documents go over the faculty assesses your application, and the faculty makes recommendation that allows you to be admitted. You know, what we do from our end is to ensure that's a smooth process, and you know, we're open to questions and queries. You can't query using this address. So the next address I'm going to ask Alison to put in is our email address for queries, which would be bradstudies@kfil.uwi.edu. bradstudies@kfil.uwi.edu. So the CH Postgrad apps does not recognize queries. It just filters the documents and bring them into the system where they're automatically sorted behind the scenes. So any written queries that you have, you will put in the email bradstudies@kfil.uwi.edu. We try our best to get the process moving as quickly as possible. So if you submit an application, all your documents on time, we try to turn it around into the faculty and back out and back to you within the month. And it's up to you to help this happen, because the sooner you can submit all your documents, you know, we can move it over to the faculty and we can get a response and be able to respond to you. So that's it for now. If any queries, you can submit them, you can ask, and I will try my best to answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ellis, the Senior Assistant Registrar for Graduate Studies. He's put here in the chat via Alison various email addresses and pieces of information for you. So please go back there and note ch_postgradapps@cavehill.ue.edu, in which you put your ID number in the subject line of the email only. That documents should be PDF or JPEG attachments only. And note in particular the special email for queries, gradstudies@cavehill.ue.edu. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, I see. Feel free to go ahead. Yes, ma'am. Welcome. Good evening.
Good evening. I wanted to find out, in terms of the specialization in film, if you don't have the undergrad in film, but instead have the BA in media and journalism from BCC, would that be accepted or would you need to do a portfolio?
Andrew, I saw you come on screen. Are you going to take that?
Well, once you're interested in film and you've had that experience in media, we would certainly consider you for graduate study. But of course, your degree really should be your entry into the program. But certainly, a degree in media would certainly be accepted.
I know that there's subjects that the government sponsors for persons with like honors in their first degrees, but does it apply for creative arts? And if so, what is the process for applying for that?
Mr. Ellis, will you take that one? Yes.
Yes, thanks. The government is very specific in who sponsors, and those programs which are sponsored by government would be the MPhil PhD in what we call the UGC funded programs. You don't have to apply for the sponsorship, you apply for the program. What the criteria we apply is that you must be Barbadian, but this is a Barbadian sponsored program. You must be Barbadian with an upper second or first class honors degree. Start undergrad, and we will make the application, or rather we will do the sponsorship to government. You just need to be accepted in the program, satisfy the condition of being an upper second or first class honors student, and we take it from there.
Is that a satisfactory answer for you, Faith?
Yes, please. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. And thank you again. And thank you
I
again for joining in. Wonderful.
I will add there is at least one scholarship that I can speak of which is open to persons who are doing cultural studies. It's the, let me get it right, it's the so Rex Nettle for a scholarship for research students from wherever you are, from a reputable, qualified university, Caribbean or otherwise. It's very competitive, I must add, and only one person gets it. It wasn't offered, it was offered last year, and it will be offered again this year. One person gets full sponsorship to do an MPhil or PhD program. Again, you apply for that. Actually, our application process for scholarships just opened a few weeks ago. So if you go online, those who are interested, go online and check for scholarship options. You will see that particular scholarship being offered, the Rex Nettle for a scholarship, and it's a full fee paying scholarship, and you also get a stipend to go along with it. So you don't have to worry about any fees at all, and then we turn around and give you what, 22,000 Barbados dollars per year for 2 years if you're an MPhil or 3 years if you're a PhD.
Which will buy about 2 books. We're not running anywhere just yet. Melissa came on in the chat just to explain she was unable to turn on her mic. And she said she knows the government pays for the first degree, but she was wondering what was there for the master's. Well, I know Mr. Ellis spoke to that just now. So I'm just wanting to put that out there to see if that satisfies her question.
Melissa is asking specifically about the masters. Again, I will qualify that if it's a UGC funded master. I think the Master of Creative Arts is, Dr. Weeks is still there. The Master's Creative Arts is, and therefore the qualifying criteria is a first degree, upper second, first class honors. And we, as I said, we take the next steps for you, and all you have to do is be entered in the program, and we will process your documents to through the bursary, and government will cover the cost.
I just have one simple question in regards to like the creative courses and stuff like music and well, specifically music. What does that entail? If that's not too general a question.
You're asking about music from the from the graduate perspective or undergrad music?
Graduate perspective.
Yes, okay.
Mr. Gooding, we don't actually have degree programs, graduate degree programs in music. Not yet, but if you are a musician who is interested, for example, in entrepreneurship, or you are interested in the teaching of music, there are two programs, two tracks in the MA in Creative Arts that would be appropriate, certainly the arts education and the arts entrepreneur. Now, at the same time, we have a number of courses which are practical, for which you can adopt your study of music to the study. For example, both tracks have as a final course, as much as 9 credits, creative arts project. Now it's interesting because we have for the first time a student who for his creative arts project is doing a music composition. And that's very interesting because what he has done is he will have an immersion into research process and research methodology, and then he will use that in the design of a musical piece. And we see the arts as contributing to the growth and development of knowledge, both on the campus and globally. And I think that if that were your interest, that certainly would be an opportunity for you to use your music training in the securing of graduate degree. But we don't actually offer, say, an MFA in music like you would be offered at another university. But it's in the plans.
Okay. Just to follow on with that, you mentioned something about entrepreneurship, right? Which is not as formal in the way it sounds. So, what if you have like a musical interest or a career that's not so conventional? For example, something like rapping. I know like people wouldn't teach you how to rap. That's kind of a self-taught thing, but it does fit along with like producing and musical composition all the same. So like if you were somebody like me that you don't really have a gift for producing, but like you could hear a beat and just put together something lyric wise, like would this be a good place for me in terms of the entrepreneurship thing you just mentioned?
Well, entrepreneurship is about taking the art and finding ways of producing and also formulating it in such a way that it becomes, I hate to say this, profitable, but using the structures of the industry that are out there, whether it is CD production or streaming, learning the digital world to produce the work. We find the experts on our faculty to assist you with the production. But in terms of you graduating, we would focus more on those entrepreneurial aspects of the industry to help you get that wrap into a global environment.
Okay, so for graduation, you focus more on entrepreneurship. Okay.
Can I just jump in for a moment?
Sure.
Sihon, I think that what you're depending on where your interest really lies, this is also something that could lend itself to a practice-based degree, which also encompasses music. So if you want to understand music and in relation to other aspects of culture, there you could use a practice-based degree in cultural studies to develop a musical project as part of your dissertation.
Mhm.
So it depends a bit on what you want this program to do for you in the end, and really what kind of degree you're looking for.
Mm.
Okay,
So thanks for
thank
that,
you.
Dr. Hajati, for that intervention. So good. And I was wondering the same thing. I know you said you joined on late because your computer wasn't working, but I was wondering if your interest was specifically with the graduate, or if you've got training already from the undergraduate side of things in your particular discipline. Just
In my
wondering, because we would be able to advise you differently, according to what your needs were. Yeah.
just being brutally honest, all of my music career isn't like formal in the sense that I was part of the music course. I did entertainment management, and I was a rapper in an entertainment management course. But otherwise, in terms of theory and being an actual music student, no, like that's a foreign world to me. But I know that what I do would fit in there. And just being brutally honest again, like this sort of stuff, like theory and stuff, does not interest me at all. But because you mentioned entrepreneurship and stuff, I was thinking maybe I could still benefit. And the gentleman just now just mentioned something about streaming and CD production. So I was just really picking for nuggets to see what can help me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I was also picking for nuggets. So it seems to me then that you would want to have a conversation, a further conversation, to find out more about our undergraduate music program, our undergraduate music education program even, which is coordinated by Dr. Stefan Walcott. So by all means, find a way to contact us. We are easy to find. I don't know if Alison wants to put an email address here in the chat or a telephone number, so that you can copy it and follow up. Our programs at both levels, as you have heard, are very practice-based and practice-oriented, as well as theoretical. So I do believe that someone like yourself would find a home with us and would find something that meets your needs if you were so inclined. Alison's just put it there in the chat, the faculty email, fccpa@cavehill.ue.edu. So I just want to encourage you to avail yourself of that opportunity to find out more. As you did say, you joined in late. So have you made a note of it? And
Yes, I have. Thank you.
yes, and we'll leave it for you to follow up, and we look forward to hearing from you. So thank you all for joining us. Special thanks to Mr. Ellis, Graduate Studies. Special thanks to those here, Ms. Bell, Ms. Watkins from the Student Enrollment and Retention Unit, SARU, who obviously went beyond the call to help us put all this activity this week together. And Ms. Amanda Watkins, my namesake. Hi, Amanda, from the Office of Marketing and Communications. Thank you all for your efforts. And thank you everyone who has joined in over these 2-hour virtual information sessions. I will close by saying what our dean says: we are culture, we are creative, we are artists, and continue to enjoy Faculty Open Week of the Faculty of Culture, Creative and Performing Arts. Good night to everybody.